Mary, here's my next question. How is karma regulated? So, like, I'm assuming that karma is regulated in some way. Like people who have karma in the third dimension. How is it regulated? I B am. I wrote. I think that was an A. I A am. And O T T O L D. So you said I am not told. So here's my next question, Mary, and thank you for answering that the best you could. I really appreciate it. Hey, here's my next question. I met someone recently on the internet. I think I told you what the internet was in the past. Well, anyway, I met someone. Her name is Jessica, and she saw that I was talking to you about aura colors and soul colors and hue colors, and she wanted to know her aura color. So I told her I would ask you, and I would try and I guess connect with her in my brain, even though I don't know her that well, and maybe you could tell me her aura color. So this Jessica person I met on Reddit, um, what is her aura color? I A am N O T C O N E C T E D T I think that's an E or ED connected ed T O H E R G U I D E. So you said, I am not connected to her guide. So you can't tell me the name of her aura or her soul color or hue color because you're not connected to her guide, so you wouldn't know. Is that true? He said, yes. Mary, have you ever heard of the I Ching? It's a Chinese divination thing. Have you ever heard of the I Ching? He said, no. Mary, when did you first learn about soul archetypes? When did you first learn about them? Because you told me soul archetypes are a thing, but I can't know what they are because I couldn't comprehend it. So I'm curious when you came to comprehend the idea of soul archetypes. 4D. So when you were in the fourth dimension, that's when you learned about soul archetypes? Is that true? He said yes. Mary, when I was in the fourth dimension, does my soul know about soul archetypes, but I have amnesia? Because I've been in 4D before, according to you. So does my soul know what a soul archetype is, but I have amnesia? That's why I don't know currently. He said no. Mary, what prompted you to learn about soul archetypes? T H E B E D S. You said the beds. Are you talking about the high beds of the fourth dimension? He said yes. What about the beds made you want to comprehend soul archetypes? You wrote no. Were you saying that it was when you were on the high beds of the fourth dimension that you learned of soul archetypes? Is that what you were trying to say? Is that when you were on the beds, that's when you learned? Said yes. I had a feeling. I think it's cool that sometimes you elaborate on stuff instead of asking my question, like you have more to say. That's one of those examples. I think it's cool when that happens, and I really appreciate it. But nonetheless, I want to know what prompted you to want to learn about soul archetypes while you were on those high beds. N O T H I N G. Who? Okay, so you said nothing. So nothing prompted it. So who told you about the soul archetypes? I'm assuming someone told you about them. Said no. So are you telling me, is it true that no one told you about soul archetypes? Yes. Well, Mary, how did you? If no one told you about soul archetypes, then how did you gain that knowledge? How did it come to you? I C A N T S A Y. Okay, but it was definitely the same beds that are for life review. That's definitely the bed that you learned the soul archetypes on. Is that true? You wrote yes. Mary, what is it that you call forward development? We've talked about forward development before as something when they do things that evolve their soul, but you don't call it forward development. So I was wondering, for what other people call forward development, what do you call it? I D O N O T. You said I do not. So are you saying you don't call it anything? What people call forward development, you don't call it anything. You said no, but I'm unsure whether, because of the way I worded my question. Is it true that you don't call forward development anything? What other people call forward development? Is it true that you don't call it anything? You said yes. Mary, of what people call forward development, does that happen in the fifth dimension? Like, would they say that you, Mary, are involved in forward development at all in the fifth dimension? Does it happen in the fifth dimension? Cool. You said yes. Mary, here's my next question. Can someone do finishing afterlife review and then become their true self afterlife review while they're in finishing? Now, I know that would probably be rare, but can that happen? Interesting. You said yes. Mary, here's my next question. How many chrono rotations have you been in the fifth dimension for? N A N Y. Mary, you said many. Now here's my next question. You said people don't socialize in the fourth dimension. You told me that once. That they reflect in the fourth dimension. But you also indicated that you socialized a lot with your mate Icarus, who you said that you shared a lot of threads with him from the fourth dimension. So I was wondering if you could explain that, how like if people don't socialize a lot in the fourth dimension, how did you get to socialize with Icarus? I D O N O T H A V E T O S O C I A L I Z E T O S H A R E T H R E A D S. So Mary, you're saying that you bonded with Icarus in the fourth dimension without ever even seeing him in the fourth dimension. Is that what you're telling? You wrote, I do not have to socialize to share threads. That's what you wrote. But are you telling me that when you were in the fourth dimension, that you didn't need to see Icarus at all, your mate, in order to bond with him? Is that true? He said yes. That's fascinating. Mary, when you were first with Icarus in the fifth dimension, were you both like strangers, but you had a lot of threads bonded, but you were still like strangers? You said yes. Now you're saying something else. Okay, you said goodbye. So I'm gonna Mary, do you want to stop talking to me right now? We'll say goodbye. Is that what you're saying? Mary, are you here? Okay, Mary's saying goodbye. That's actually never happened before where she says I have to go and then goodbye. So I'm gonna take that as she's saying goodbye. So goodbye, Mary. Goodbye. And I'll talk to you in 2 weeks.